Attention passionate Washington Commanders fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC East and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Washington Commanders' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Washington Commanders fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with YOUR, FRINDS, and Washington Commanders FANS. Let's get to the news now, folks. I've got some buzz that's been stirring up the NFL world and especially the NFC East, and it involves none other than Patrick Surtain, the outstanding cornerback from the Denver Broncos. Yes, you heard that right. The whispers are growing louder that Surtain might be on his way to Washington, and it's a move that could really shake things up for the Commanders, especially as the season heads into its critical stretch. This isn't just some rumor. It's been backed by some credible sources, and the discussions are heating up around the league. So let's unpack what's happening, why it makes sense for Washington, and what kind of impact Surtain could have on this team's quest to return to playoff prominence. First off, the context here is pretty important. The Denver Broncos, sitting at a 9-2 record, are in a position of relative strength, but they're also facing some financial constraints, particularly with their cap space. Reports suggest that the Broncos are about $18 million over the cap, down from around $20 million, and they're in the middle of a rebuild, especially along the offensive line, which has been a sore spot with 22 sacks allowed so far this season. As a result, they're looking at ways to shed some cap space and acquire draft capital to rebuild that O-line and add youth and talent for the long run. Trading a player like Surtain, who is not only a shutdown corner but also a cornerstone of their defense, might seem counterintuitive, but if they get a significant return, it could be a smart move for their rebuild. Now, the proposed deal on the table is quite interesting. The Broncos are reportedly willing to send Patrick Surtain to Washington in exchange for a second-round pick in the 2026 NFL Draft. That's a significant return for a player of Surtain's caliber, especially considering his age and production. Surtain, who is just entering his third season, has quickly established himself as one of the league's premier corners. In 2025, he's been fantastic. 4 interceptions, 8 pass defenses, a PFF grade of 98, and coverage stats that speak volumes with a coverage rating of 92. 1. His EPA per target is at an impressive 28, meaning he's consistently limiting the effectiveness of opposing offenses when targeted. On top of that, he's accumulated 45 tackles and has been a force against the run and in coverage. His ability to shadow top receivers allows him to give quarterbacks nightmares, as he allows just 4.8 yards per target and has an 85% success rate in man coverage. What makes Surtain so valuable is not just his stats, but his potential to elevate any secondary he joins. For Washington, adding a player of his caliber could be transformative, especially considering their current secondary struggles. The Commanders' secondary, which includes players like Emmanuel Forbes and Kendall Fuller, has shown flashes but hasn't yet reached that elite level. A player like Surtain could be the piece that pushes them into that top-tier conversation, especially with his ability to shut down top receivers and make life miserable for opposing quarterbacks. His presence alone could reduce the number of points they allow, help them generate more turnovers, and ultimately lead to more wins. The Broncos, on the other hand, would benefit immensely from acquiring a high draft pick, particularly as they look to rebuild their offensive line, which has been a major issue this season. With 22 sacks allowed so far, it's clear they need reinforcements up front. The draft pick could be used to select a top-tier lineman or a versatile player who can help stabilize their protection. Plus, they get to shed some cap space, which is essential as they maneuver through this rebuild. It's a calculated risk for Denver, especially since Surtain is still young and has multiple Pro Bowl seasons ahead of him. But with the team's current position and needs, it makes sense to maximize their assets. Now, for Washington, this isn't just about acquiring a talented cornerback. It's about making a statement. Adding Surtain would send a message that the Commanders are serious about contending now, not just in a couple of years. It would bolster a secondary that has shown improvement but still needs that elite player to take it over the top. With Surtain, the Commanders could reduce their points allowed per game, which currently sits around 26. 9, and create a more aggressive, turnover-producing defense. The numbers support this. The defense is projected to generate about 10 more turnovers if they add a player like Certain, which could be the difference in close games down the stretch. And let's not forget the playoff implications here. The odds are stacking up in favor of Washington making a deep run. Betting odds are now between +10, 0 to +4, 0 for a Super Bowl victory. But with Certain in the fold, those odds could significantly improve, maybe even by +14%, according to some projections. His lockdown ability, especially in high-stakes games, could be the X factor Washington needs to push through tough matchups in the postseason. It's a gamble that could pay huge dividends, especially if he helps turn the secondary into an elite unit, similar to what the 49ers did after acquiring Bosa, transforming their defense into one of the best in the league. But of course, there are some hesitations. The Broncos might be reluctant to part ways with Certain unless the offer is compelling enough. They're in a good spot with their record and could hold out for a premium. Meanwhile, Washington has to weigh whether giving up that second-round pick in 2026 is worth the immediate upgrade in talent and the potential playoff boost. Still, the feeling around the league is that this deal could be a real game-changer if it comes to fruition. Certain's ability to elevate the secondary, combined with the financial and strategic needs of Denver, makes it a logical move, one that could shift the balance of power in the NFC East and beyond. The impact on the Commanders would be substantial. A true shutdown corner would allow younger players like Forbes to develop in a more complementary role, and it would free up other defenders to play more aggressively. It's about building a defense that can hold opponents under 20 points on a consistent basis, which is crucial if Washington wants to seriously contend. The secondary would become a strength rather than a weakness, and that, combined with their improving offense, could set the stage for a playoff push that's been elusive in recent years. Of course, nothing is set in stone yet. The NFL trade deadline is always unpredictable, and teams are often hesitant to give up key assets unless the deal makes sense for both sides. But the signs point toward Washington potentially making a bold move, one that could define their season and maybe even their franchise's future. If they land Certain, it'll be a statement that they're all in on winning now, not just rebuilding for the future. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YOUTUBE algorithm to keep recommending the latest Washington Commanders news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. Now I want to hear from you, Commanders fans. What's your take on this potential blockbuster move? Do you believe Certain is the missing piece to elevate Washington's defense into the elite tier? Or do you think the price is too steep and the team should look elsewhere? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion really matters to us and to the team. Remember, this is your channel, your community, and I'll be back soon with even more updates, rumors, and analysis. So stay tuned, stay passionate, and let's keep supporting the Washington Commanders through every twist and turn this season brings. We're on the brink of something exciting, and I can't wait to see how it all unfolds.